November 6, 2025, to order at 7:02 p.m. Ms. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Hall,
Present.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Present.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Present. Item number 3 is prayer and pledge. Lord, I'd like to thank you tonight for our community and everyone in it. I pray for anyone who is sick for your healing. I pray for all those who are affected by the government shutdown, that we as a community can come together and support each other. I pray for our football teams who are going to play here tonight, that everyone be safe and just be with good sportsmanship. Thank you for all that you give us and all that you provide. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is mayor's comments. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We have a good crowd, and at home, we like to let you know that if anyone would like to see the meeting afterwards, it's on YouTube. And we want to thank our officer here tonight, for Miranda, for being here and keeping us safe. If we could all just remember to be courteous and polite when we speak. Let's get our meeting started. Item number 5 is citizens' comments.
There are none tonight.
And 6 is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 6 passes 5-0. Item number 7, public announcements, awards, and recognition. City events with Mr. Ross.
Good evening. Just a reminder, we have our Christmas tree lighting at City Hall on Friday, December the 5th at 5 p.m. And that's different than years past. That way it allows for the community to go to other things throughout the community, plus the candlelight vigil that goes on at Harpeth Hills on Saturday, December the 6th, that evening. We also have the Christmas parade, which is on Saturday, December the 6th at 10 a.m. And if you'd like to be a part of the Christmas parade, please give us a call at 615-387-6140. And we got notification this week that the high school will be having their Veterans Day program on Veterans Day, which is this upcoming Tuesday, November 11th. The ceremony will begin at 9 a.m. and all veterans are welcome to attend for coffee and donuts at 8:30 a.m. And if you'd like to sign up for that, please give them a call or email Mr. Jason Logan at jason.logan@wcs.edu. And then also today, or tomorrow, we're going to be launching our blanket drive. The city of Fairview is hosting a blanket drive to help keep our community warm this winter. The drop-off dates will begin tomorrow, which is November the 7th, and will go on until November the 24th. And people can drop off new blankets here at City Hall, and we will be distributing them to citizens in need that are here in Fairview. And tomorrow, we have storms that are going to be rolling through between, forgive me for looking at my phone, but this is directly from emergency management. The storms will be rolling through between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow on a scale to 1 to 5, 5 being the greatest risk. We are at a level 2 at the moment. That could change, and if it changes, I'll definitely put that out as well. And if you want to stay weather alert and stay up to date on anything regarding the city, including road closures, please text FV Alerts to 888-777. Again, that's FV Alerts to 888-777, And currently, we have 3,461 people signed up for the text alerts and 1,863 signed up for email alerts. So which is on average roughly 45% of our population, which is really good. That's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions from the board, Mr. Ross? All right. Item number 8, staff comments and monthly reports. A, city manager report, Mr. Darty.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. Just a couple of house cleaning items. As Richard said earlier, City Hall will be closed next Tuesday, November 11th for Veterans Day. This has pushed the PC meeting back to Tuesday, the 18th. And then City Hall will be closed on the 27th and 28th for observing Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Any questions from the board of Mr. Darty? Okay. Item number 9, consent agenda. A, minutes from October 16th, 2025, Board of Commissioner regular meeting. And B, resolution 59-25, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a license agreement between the state of Tennessee and the city of Fairview, Tennessee. And Mr. Darty will speak to that.
Thank you, Mayor. The state reached out to us and asked if we could put a kiosk in City Hall, and we had no problem with it. They came out and put it up, and it was been there for a while, and then we get some paperwork, I guess, that they forgot I got the cart behind the horse. So anyway, this is us giving permission for them to put the kiosk in City Hall, basically. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I do have a question about the kiosk. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Darty, I'm just making sure, I see in the resolution that it says that the state of Tennessee will, sorry, I've lost it on here, but it'll operate and maintain the kiosk. But in the license, I don't see anything that indicates who's responsible for maintaining the kiosk. If it breaks, who's fixing it, who's paying for it. I'm assuming that it's the state of Tennessee, but is that clearly lined out? Like we don't have responsibility other than to provide the power and the location with the requirements for the right temperature and security. Is that right?
Yes, we're just providing the space. I had our attorney, Mr. Carter, look over it. He said everything looks good. I believe we're, and everything I've talked with the state, and they said it's their property, it's not ours. I will put a little, I will put a little tag in for our staff. We have learned that machine a little bit and have helped people with it, but it's not ours really. It's really not our job to do that, but the staff has stepped up and just learned it a little bit, and I think have helped some citizens that may or may not have ever gotten through it. So,
Just to briefly answer your question, it's explicit that it's the state's property, not ours, and we have no responsibilities to maintain it in the agreement. The only responsibility we have is just for the utilities, the electricity to it. We don't charge them for that, but.
Great. Thank you so much.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item number 9, A and B, pass 5-0. Item number 10, old business. 10A, second final reading, ordinance 2025-20, rezoning Fairview Boulevard. I will now open the public hearing. Seeing no one to speak, I will close the public hearing. An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 111.66 plus or minus acre parcel located south of Fairview Boulevard and west of Pinewood Road, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 070, Parcel 005.01, from RS40, Single Family Residential, to RS10, Single Family Residential, property owner Carl Walker. Mr. Greer.
This comes to you tonight with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission for approval. There is a representative tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
Will the representative please come forward, state your name and address, please?
Good evening, Rob Mulchin, SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm here for any questions that you may have for me in regards to this project.
Mayor,
Commissioner Roberts.
thank you. I don't have new questions. I just want to kind of renew the statements that I made last time when we were talking about this, just for the record, because I still feel like it's too soon in our city planning to rezone this property based on the location and the surrounding property. And so I would like to renew that. I don't think I have any new questions for you, so I won't draw it out. But just for the record, and to state that this evening, I wanted to say openly that I think that it's still something we should hold on until we have our new zoning ordinances approved and we've had a chance to discuss a larger plan for the city as a board.
Any other comments from the board? Ms. Jones? Sorry. Let's have a motion first.
Motion to approve.
Second? Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts.
Nay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Item 10A passes 4-1. Item 10B, second and final reading, ordinance 2025-21, rezoning Old Franklin Road. I will now open the public hearing. Anyone here to speak on this item, just please state your name and your address, and if you live in the city or county. Thank you.
My name is Owen Jones. I live at 105 Monticello Road in Franklin, but I own property on Overby Road here in Fairview that is adjacent to this property being considered for rezoning on Old Franklin Road. I want to begin by thanking you all for your service to the community. I realize in situations like you're considering tonight that somebody's going to walk away disappointed, and I understand the difficulty that you have in trying to balance the different considerations that you have before you. So I hope that tonight I'll be able to share some of my thoughts and help you maybe think about the decision that you have to make. I am speaking for myself, but also for my siblings. I have 6 brothers and sisters. 4 of them are here today. They live along Franklin Road, Old Franklin Road and Overby Road. And again, we grew up there on this farm. Our generation represents the 8th generation from our family, and I have nephews and nieces that live on Overby Road in this general vicinity, in this what I call community, who are the 9th generation. And so I just tell you that to let you know the history that I have with this property and my family has with the property, and how important this issue is to us as we consider what the community is going to look like moving forward. So again, I appreciate your consideration for all these things. I have three primary concerns. One is the potential for erosion and environmental impact to a creek that I have on my property. If you were looking at the map, you would see on the westernmost edge of this property, it's not a straight line boundary, but a rather jagged line, and that represents a ravine, or what I call a wet weather stream, that comes to the backside of that property. That leads right into my property, and about 4 to 5 feet across the boundary line on my side is a spring. That is one of 3 springs that feeds a stream that ultimately runs into Overby Branch, which is an important stream along Overby Road, of course, and I think is important for you to consider the impact of that too dense of a building too densely there could very seriously impact. I speak a little bit from some concern that's not just theoretical, but there's already property on Old Franklin Road built out that has caused erosion on my property, new patterns of erosion that weren't there historically as I was growing up on the property. So it's a serious concern for me, especially in light of that drainage ditch that exists there. There's also just the matter of density on Old Franklin Road. It is not a road that was built for high density, and there's already some development that has gone on there, as you well know, with Castleberry and more recently, I think it's called Aiden Woods or Aiden Glen or something to that effect, that is impacting the traffic in the neighborhood. And what I would say just in general about that is you've got along that road several large lot homes, what I would call legacy property along Old Franklin and even Overby Road that I heard in the last meeting the developer's representative say that this should be zoned more densely, and they were citing that neighborhood across the road as precedent for doing that. To me, those homes are the exception. The actual precedent, if you drive up and down the road, is larger lots with homes on them. So that, to me, I don't think that should be considered as heavily as precedent as they may have implied. The other thing I would say is a concern of mine is just the hope that I have for the preservation of the rural character of Fairview and this general area as we consider how Fairview is going to grow. I want to just say we're not here, my family is not here saying put the brakes, lock the gate, don't allow anybody to move to Fairview. That ship has sailed. There needs to be growth in the community. We're no longer the primarily farming community that we were as my siblings and I were growing up. However, there is still a rural character to Fairview that is attractive to people who want to move into that type of community. And I think you have an opportunity as a board and as a group of people with responsibility and to plan these sorts of things, to create zones that would be conducive to that. On the end of Old Franklin Road is a school. On the end of Overby Road is a community center and a convenience center. Think of it as a recycling center. Both of those attract traffic to the area that's not organic to just residential. Those two roads merge. I'll call that section between Overby Road and Old Franklin Road a pie slice for the purpose of this conversation. What I would like for you to consider is setting that area apart. Old Franklin Road to its end, Overby Road from 100 to its end, as a large lot-ish. It's already zoned for an acre. In my antiquated understanding of large lots, that's not that large. However, when you're planning a city and you're in demand for people to move to it, I understand that you can go smaller. I'm encouraging you to vote against this rezoning and to set this area apart as a large lot area that could serve as a model even for other such zones in other parts of the community where it makes sense. I know that you're somehow, I'm not sure exactly the timing of it, but I know you're going to be reconsidering your planning documents in the near future. Already, I think we can concede that it's outdated, the document that you're using. And even if it was fresh, it's guidance for you. It is not a requirement that you follow every recommendation on that guiding document. So I would just put before you consideration of setting apart this area as a separate zone and helping to potentially preserve the area, the aesthetics of the area, help to mitigate the traffic impact that is already happening with the current developments on those two corridors, and just to reduce the risk of silt pollution happening in an important stream of Overby Branch. I thank you again for allowing me time to speak, and I just, again, I'm urging you to vote no to this particular ordinance.
Thank you. Hi.
7263 Old Franklin Road. I live on one side of the proposed parcel redevelopment. Hopefully, I will speak more coherently tonight than I did last meeting. But anyway, before I start speaking coherently, I want to say, I just kind of want to share why we chose where we chose to live. We were very fortunate with my husband's job to live in Switzerland for 2 years. It was like a dream. You know, the only bad part of the dream was I didn't have a Heidi house in the mountains, but I had Heidi cream, had Heidi cheese, I had all of those things. In our backyard was a vineyard. We went down the road in our small village and bought wine from the vineyard. So when we came back after the company reorganized and we had a choice where we would live, we said, okay, we're coming to Nashville. Our kids, we had 2 of our kids living here, and they were prime childbearing years, you know, so we're going to have grandkids. And we looked all around Nashville, and every place we looked, and mind you, we'd just come from Switzerland, and we would take walks, and there were cows with cowbells, and, you know, and I know this isn't important or cogent, but it's why we chose to live here. And every place we looked was like, you look in the backyard and there was a house right on top of you. There was, you know, a deck that was going to be overlooking you. So we came here and we found our home on Old Franklin Road. We are in the county, but that was not a consideration at the time. It was just the property that spoke to us, and we were excited to be there and live close to Fairview. I wasn't thrilled about being so far from Nashville because I was commuting. But once I got back to the house, I was thrilled. You know, it was so nice to be there. So now I'll go into my prepared speech. Anyway, again, thank you for this opportunity to express our opposition to the rezoning the property in question on Old Franklin Road. There are others here who support our position, and I'm not sure that they will want to speak. And we all share Mr. Jones' concerns. And I would like to thank him for expressing so eloquently our opposition to this rezoning. I should have probably spoken to you all sooner and given my opposition, but we've been traveling, and so my apologies. While my concern tonight is for this particular property, I want to say the following, not only for this parcel, but for all future planning of Fairview. I think it's important, and I think Mr. Jones hit on some of the highlights of that. I question the need to rezone every newly annexed property from R40 to R20 or lower. Is there not room in Fairview's grand plan for homes with larger lots? Every month, there are requests for annexation and our rezonings. As you are well aware, on tonight's agenda alone, there are 4 requests for rezoning from R40 to denser zoning, although one is for industrial. In reading the results of previous meetings, I cannot remember seeing where a rezoning request has been denied. And I know in a previous meeting, somebody said, well, I didn't hear any, objections to this rezoning proposition. But can you really blame people for not showing up to express their concerns? Land is being bought and rezoned without any plans in place that I am aware of, not to say they're not there, but I'm not aware of for what the development will look like other than many more homes. How are developers being held to account for improving the city? What types of homes are they building? Will the city have requirements for any green space or amenities for the neighborhood? Is there any consideration for what impact more homes will have on our schools and classroom size? Will the city require sidewalks so residents can walk to shopping or dinner, or so kids can walk and or ride their bikes to school as opposed to more cars in the carpool line or long bus rides or waits at school, as there are currently not enough bus drivers, and it's taking some kids over an hour to get home since bus routes are being combined? There are many subdivisions with R20 zoning in the process of being developed and built. How many more parcels have been rezoned, but not yet in the active development phase? The economy has changed. Houses are not being sold without anybody looking at them. In driving through many of these subdivisions, homes are not selling quickly, if selling at all. Does Fairview need to have subdivision after subdivision of vacant homes or half-developed subdivisions? While I understand that there is a plan you adhere to and that it's necessary for the growth and future development of Fairview to build more homes, with all due respect for the dedication to the job you all do and the extra time it involves, which I understand, I kind of have the feeling there has been too much focus on the plan and the developers whose only motivation is profit, and have been given more weight, and they win, while the current residents of the area who reside here and have concerns over the rapid growth, the traffic concerns, all the trees being clear-cut for new housing, what happens to the wildlife and other environmental and drainage concerns. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for profit, but not at the cost of lowering the standards to which developers and builders should be held. As Mr. Jones said, the plan is a guide. It can be amended. Developers here seem to know they can purchase property and the zoning will immediately be changed to at least R20, and the developers will not be held to any accountability for improving Fairview. Now, while it is not on the agenda, it is my understanding that the property behind the parcel we're talking about is for sale. And it is part of the larger plan of developing a big subdivision. So more pressure is going to be built on changing the zoning to R20. This is relevant to this discussion, as what we all suspect, and some may know, as I just said, there's going to be a big subdivision. As Mr. Jones said, Old Franklin Road and Overby Road should be possibly considered as a larger lot element. There is the exception, of course, of Castleberry Farm and the new development on Overby. As I understand from the last meeting, the City Commission would like to keep the rural feeling of Fairview to a certain extent. Why can we not keep the Old Franklin Road, and I know it's not here, but the possibility of the Overby property, R40? A large portion of Old Franklin Road, and I believe Overby is already in the county. Why can we not have a smooth transition from county to city? Why do we have to have more subdivisions, R20? Overby and Old Franklin Road protects the trees, the wildlife, it alleviates some of the traffic concerns. And I have to say, prior to my, why we moved here, it is much more pleasant to drive down the road and see open land, cattle, red-ringed blackbirds, interspersed with homes of all sizes and styles, rather than rows of house after house that all look alike. Read the environmental and drainage concerns that Mr. Jones has addressed. Our property, which is next door to the property in discussion, already has drainage issues when it storms at the back of the property. It's a swamp. I would think that would be the case for the property next door as well. How much land is actually suitable for building a home? Additionally, as Mr. Jones has addressed, there's a creek behind the property which serves as storm runoff for the properties on Overby and Old Franklin Road. It runs pretty full and fast after a storm. What will happen to that creek? Will we and our neighbors have an additional pond in our backyard? Who would be held responsible for that? While I learned at the last meeting that Fairview had instituted stiff requirements for environment and runoff, what are the penalties? I heard somewhere the penalty was something like $50. I hope I'm mistaken, but what are the penalties? Are they enough to discourage the bad behavior by developers ignoring requirements? Who enforces the new requirements? Does Fairview have the manpower to police all the building sites on a regular basis and investigate all complaints? I'm not trying to throw trash on anybody. I'm just asking questions that I think are relevant. Regardless of the outcome of your vote, I would ask whether the zoning remains at R40 or is rezoned to R20, that in the future, for all of Fairview, not just this property, that any developer for this property, at the very least, have some responsibility to incorporate green spaces and build sidewalks to make Fairview a more walkable town. Residents of any future development of this Old Franklin property, along with Castleberry residents, would greatly benefit by having sidewalks to Highway 100, along with a crosswalk over to high school and middle school. It would alleviate the traffic for carpool lines. It would help people go to the football games, to any kind of activities that are going on. I respectfully ask the commissioners to carefully consider our request to maintain our current zoning. Respect the neighbors in this area on Old Franklin and Overby. Additionally, consider future planning for Fairview as well. As earlier stated, there are already many parcels of land rezoned to R20. Make a place in Fairview for those people who may want a larger lot and more space between neighbors, as well as having a more rural feeling, but have the advantage of living in the city. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is David Beard. I live on the place across the road from this future development. As the Joneses, we've been there for a few years ourselves. So, one of the biggest things about, if this was a person just building a single home, I don't think any of us would be up here getting rezoned. I don't think any of us have a problem. But since it's a development, one issue that I've noticed that has affected me in the past is runoff from erosion. When they developed Deer Valley, had about 3 foot of mud washed down in the creek. Had to call a city. They had the state come out and get it corrected. And of course, eventually nature took care of the mud, but you got clear cutting, and then you got drainage, and you got erosion that affects the other neighbors. You know, in all, and I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to y'all, but this really isn't fair to us. We're up here arguing against a zone change that the city has allowed for a potential to be rezoned from years ago. We don't know what this man is going to develop. We don't know what it's going to look like. I'm guessing, and I'm not a planner and I'm not a builder, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but the reason he wants an R20 is for duplexes. I know in the past meetings he said something about 6 to 8 homes. If for duplexes, you can double that, 12 to 18. 12 to 16, I'm sorry. So, you know, it would be a little bit better for us to have some idea what this development looked like so that we'd have a better idea how to present our opinion than just say, we don't want it rezoned to R20 from R40. Another thing is, this may be better suited for a town hall comment, but I'm going to say it anyway. Your city planning staff is overworked. The workload does not decrease, it continues to increase. Now, Ethan, I have a lot of respect for the young man. He does good at what he does. But his quality of life cannot continue to be good with the amount of workload that's put on that man's shoulders. And I compliment this board when they had a budget review for getting the money that the city manager allotted to get another planner to help him. Because when you're trying to get answers from the city staff and they can't respond, that's not allowing them to do their job. So they're failing in responding back to the people who work and live in this city. And like I said, I could go on, but I think that's for town hall stuff. So in closing, my thing is, another issue I have is the King property that's for sale that borders Obey Road. It doesn't quite reach Old Franklin, but this development meets that border. I don't want to see a road connecting those two developments. When that King property is sold, that would give, if they're allowed to have a road, that would give them access to Old Franklin Road, if these two developers and the city agreed to it. I don't want to see that happen. We don't need any more traffic on Old Franklin Road. Like I said, I've got a road separating me, but you still got in and out of our driveways and our neighbors' driveways, and that much more traffic, along with the best pedestrian traffic and the bicycle traffic on Old Franklin Road. It's not going to be a win-win. It's going to be dangerous. That's just one concern that I had, and I'm just throwing that out there. There's other properties that this developer or others may try to buy or may be in the process of buying that connect to that King property that gives them access to Old Franklin. Again, I want the planners and y'all to know we don't need a road connecting Overby to Old Franklin through these subdivisions. It's a bad thought. But I appreciate y'all and thank y'all again.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness, sorry. Hi, my name is Brianne Splitgerber. I was not planning to talk tonight. I know everybody wants to go to football, but I live at 7269 Old Franklin Road. So I live next to Sawyer's, and actually the property is right next to me and behind me that's going to be built on, allegedly. So when we first moved here, we moved here because of the space, and we My son, like, I didn't want to bring this up, but he loves to pee off the porch, and he just wants to have that freedom to not have anybody in our backyard. And my husband probably likes to do it too. Don't tell him I said that. Anyway, so we don't want anybody behind us. Like, we're on 5 acres. The lot would be way behind us, but we really enjoy the space. I grew up in a subdivision. It was cookie cutter. I'm from Nebraska. We moved down here to literally be in the country, and this is going to ruin that for us. And I honestly don't have any other arguments regarding the soil or anything like that. I'm just saying that I live literally where it's going to happen, and I'd rather have it be bigger lots also instead of small, like do an acre lot instead of a half acre, whatever. I don't do the RS40 and RS20. I'm just telling you what I would like. We know it's going to happen, so that's not really the argument at this point. But let's see. Subdivisions need to have sidewalks. So we have Castleberry. It's jam-packed with homes. Our road, like he said, is super busy. I would love it if my kids would have been able to walk to school. So putting in more houses is just going to make it worse. Let's see. Oh, one other point. When we first moved here and we were talking with Sawyers, we wanted to buy those acres because the previous owner of our home owned those 10 acres. And Connie Harrison, and she's like, you can call this lady, she'll sell them to you. And I'm like, okay. So when we finally met these guys, we're like, let's buy it together. And this owner, Deborah, I don't know. We tried to contact her several times to split the property with Sawyers, and nothing. She's never been here. She's never lived here. She doesn't know us. And here we are, already sold. We never had a chance to buy it. So it's unfortunate. She's not even a Fairview person. She lives in Georgia. So it would be nice to have a little bit of say in this. And it's kind of like what Susan was saying. It's kind of a moot point for us. That's why I wasn't going to say anything, because we usually get turned down. You guys, I know you got a job to do. It's all about profit, but I think you should listen to us sometimes. And yes, I live in the county. I don't even care if I'm in the city. I just don't want a subdivision circling my home. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 10.07 plus or minus acre parcel located south of Old Franklin Road and east of Nottingham Drive, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 046, parcel 054.02, from RS40 Single Family Residential to R20 1 and 2 Family Residential. Property owner Willisam Investment Services. Mr. Greer.
This comes to you tonight with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. And just to speak and provide a couple pieces of information for you, the 2040 Comprehensive Plan shows this as legacy residential medium density. Appropriate land uses are single-family detached residential. Development character is medium to large lot, single-use development. Appropriate zoning is RS40 or R20 in the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. One of the citizens spoke about if this were to be duplex dwellings. We do have a requirement within our zoning ordinance today that no property proposed for the location of duplex dwellings shall be reclassified to the R20 zone district unless such district is overlaid by a residential planned unit development. This is not a planned unit development, and it has been expressed to the planning staff that this would be a single-family home development. There is a representative tonight to answer any questions you have.
Will the representative please come forward?
Evening again, Rob Mulchin, SEC 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Can I entertain a motion, please?
Motion for approval.
Second? Questions from the board?
Mayor,
Commissioner Roberts?
thank you. Mr. Greer, have you configured, or maybe Mr. Mulchin, if you know, the difference between the number of houses that could go on this property if it were R20 versus if it were remaining at R40?
Right now, under the R20, you'd be looking between 7 to 9 lots on the property. So you're still under 1 unit to acre density on the property if you're going to the R20 that we're requesting tonight on that side. So you're talking about what's on the property today, and you're talking 1 acre lots, you can probably put that in half, so you'd be looking between, 3 to 4 lots. Again, you're also limited with the design of this property, the way it's carved up, the very narrow entrance to this, very wide back, also topography. We also have the stream that was talked about earlier on that side, so we have buffers along that we have to contend with on that side. So yes, so this is a very unique piece of property in regards to configuration by the boundary side. So doing a RS40 would definitely continue to reduce the number of lots available on the property. So that's what we're asking the R20. The land use plan does represent the R20 as being one of the appropriate uses for the property, and that's the request we're making, is to go to the R20 on that side.
Is the only existing water Blue Stream just that one that's on the back side of the property?
Correct, yes. The property falls down from the roadway to that creek on that side, so we do have topography running across the property down there. So the only stream we have is at the base of the property.
And it's at the bottom of the hill? Thank you.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
I had the opportunity to walk one of the neighbors' properties that borders this one, and they did point out, they had maps with them throughout the walk, and there were some areas that definitely looked as if there was some drainage coming off the property that were not marked on official maps stating that. Just for everyone's knowledge in the room, everyone just share, I guess, transparency and information during all the studies that would have to take place on this property prior to development. If there was, let's assume that water is coming from this property, that would be uncovered in your review of the property and the studies that would take place, and then measurements would have to be taken to make sure that situation didn't, at worst case, get worse than what it is now. But in most cases, I'm sure you would address it to some degree. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. This is just more or less the first process in moving forward with any development on any property in the city or anywhere in the state on that side. We would have to conduct a HD report or hydrologic determination report, which would then be sent to TDEC and also the Army Corps of Engineers for their review. They will come out, usually they come out and put it themselves on the ground as well, outside of our scientist that does the report, to verify those findings on that report to say whether or not what the scientist has found is accurate and in compliance with what TDEC would want to see being recorded, which would then give us the information we need to, as we design the property, to fully understand the things that we can and cannot disturb, and then also give us an idea about how we're supposed to follow the city's regulations in regard to stormwater management, and also, those principles for containing siltation and other things that would come off the development as it's being opened up and prepared for development. And then eventually, once that's closed down, the HOA would then be set forth to maintain those that open space or detention area and that kind of stuff on that side. So this is the zoning and annexation portions, the beginning of the process. There's a lot more detailed design work that has to go into this, assuming the annexation and rezoning would move forward.
Thank you for sharing that. Also, there was some concerns, and I understand. I think there is, well, I know there is. There's, in the future, we'll get into the details of the plan on this property, and that will go through an approval process as well. But just for the sake of, I guess, sharing as much information as possible, and I understand you may not even be to that level yourself yet, but do you have an idea of what percentage of this parcel will be clear-cut, disturbed, graded? What percentage of it has no plans on touching any of it? If so, what areas of this parcel won't be touched? Just, if any, if you could speak to that, it'd be great.
No real design engineering work to be done on this to tell you exactly how much disturbance will be done to this, knowing that the property does fall down. We'd have to get that roadway set in there to meet the maximum and minimum grade percentages along those roadways on that side, which then would then layer into how do we present the lot. So they terraced in regards to pad ready, or are we going to just have it out there and the builder goes out and builds, slab grades, or are they building retaining walls to hold up the foundations, or walkout basements, or crawl spaces, that kind of stuff on that side. So we have not gotten anywhere to that level. We don't want to, my client would not want to put forth that much money and energy to get that far down the road. Most likely, because of that stream at the back, is going to have probably a 60-foot buffer on that. At a bare minimum, and I can say there probably will be more trees saved somewhere on the property, but at a bare minimum, that zone along that buffering zone would not be disturbed because we cannot disturb on it under TDEC rules.
That's all I have for now.
Mayor,
Commissioner Hall?
would the developer be willing to put a year-round evergreen berm that's of the houses that surround this property?
I don't know if he would. I mean, it's something that I can definitely consider and talk to him about on that side, but that's not standard practice. Is that correct, Mr. Greer? Single family against single family?
You're correct. It is not standard practice to have a buffer zone whenever you have single-family homes backing up to single-family homes per our regulations.
Okay, one other question. Will there be sidewalks on the interior?
Yes, there will be.
There will be sidewalks and of course, out on Overby Road, the width of the property.
Well, I'll need to work with staff in regards to the Overby Road side of things and.
Not Overby
I'm
Road,
sorry,
excuse me.
Old Franklin Road, yes,
excuse me,
Old Franklin
yes.
Road.
Mhm.
Since that is definitely not really constructed to a city standard at this time on that side, but we'll definitely talk to staff about it as we get up to designing that level of detail.
I might add too that we lost a grant many years ago for sidewalks on Old Franklin Road, possibly because we possibly didn't have enough to do the match, but also we had a lot of opposition of the people that lived there at the time that did not want sidewalks on Old Franklin Road that would help children to be able to walk to schools, which that is one of the main roads that leads to our schools. So that was some of the reasoning and my thoughts at the time to not proceed with the grant that we were being offered. But here again, the money problem was one issue, but then another problem was the opposition for not wanting sidewalks on Old Franklin Road at the time.
We will definitely work with staff, and I think it's, kind of a broad picture as you're bringing up, Commissioner Hall, that, you're looking at a holistic change to the overall character of that roadway by wanting to look at putting sidewalks in there. And again, is that as you talked about, a grant process that the city conducts and, matches that to improve that entire corridor? Or is it now based on a developer by developer basis to install sidewalks on a hodgepodge process going down there that at some point in time, eventually the entire roadway corridor would have sidewalks? But, the grant process is definitely a better process to bring the holistic picture together at one time.
Yeah. Well, this was a Safe Routes to School grant that actually we got some of the sidewalks done on Old Cumberland, not Old Cumberland, but Cumberland Drive. And this was part of the Safe Routes to School. But like I said, the money problem was one issue, and then the other problem was opposition for not wanting sidewalks on Old Franklin Road. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you. You saw me unmute. Thank you so much. Mr. Greer, will you please remind us again of the zoning of the properties that are directly adjacent to this property?
The property to the south, along that creek boundary, is zoned RS 40. All of the other surrounding properties are located within Williamson County. They're not within the city of Fairview. Across Overby Road, you have West Hill Subdivision, which is a RS 15 pod. And then across Old Franklin, you have Castleberry Farms, which is zoned R20.
Okay, thank you. I would like to say, just as to bring back up again from the conversation we had last time, and to remind the board and to encourage you all to think broadly about this. There was a comment made in the Planning Commission meeting last time about a different property that I found really articulated well some thoughts I've had about this. And it is, with an odd-shaped property like this, we don't have to rezone to configure to figure out the maximum number of houses we can fit on a property. And with something like this, with it being a downhill into a waterway that backs up to properties that are downstream that could be affected with the sort of narrow entry to this, surrounded by properties that are in the county, I think it's not proper to rezone it to an R20. I think that keeping it in line with the properties that currently surround it is actually what makes sense. And in the past, the reverse argument has been made to go with a higher density rezone on different properties by this board because it matched what the surrounding properties were. So I'm kind of imploring the board to consider keeping this at a lower density property zone because it does match what the surrounding properties are with this property. And just considering the waterways, considering the hill that it's on, I don't think that every parcel of property should be developed to the maximum that you can fit onto it within the zoning. And with the 2040 forward plan, the recommendation is only R20 or R40. So based on the recommendation of that, this is the highest density that this property could be if it were to be rezoned to R20. So I think that with the shape, with the location, with the other properties around it, with the rural nature of the road, it is going to be developed into either an R40 or an R20. That's the plan. That's what we're looking at. I would think that it would make a lot of sense to keep it with a lower density for this particular property. And again, back to the same thing I've been saying now for about 14 months, which is we are looking at rezoning, our rezoning code. We're planning. I'm not against growth, as some of the people that spoke this evening said. It's here, it's happening. And we all want amenities, and we need roadways, and we need sidewalks, and we need all sorts of things. But we need to have a plan with it. I'd like to think about how these developments can actually work as part of a plan. And I want to think about those things, not have it happen because of rezoning. I want us to think about those things when we're thinking about our major thoroughfare project and when we're thinking about our rezoning. And I think this board is a group of thoughtful people that I would like you to consider this and think about the fact that we could take a pause on this and really think about what we want to have out here, because it doesn't necessarily match to make that an R20. I think that we have a good opportunity here to take a pause and be thoughtful and to have it match.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor McDonald.
There was another concern that was mentioned during the citizens' comment portion of the potential of, in the future, that parcel to the south being purchased and somehow part of a bigger development. And takeaway for me was the main concern was a connector road through there. Would that stream that's on the south side of this parcel prevent any connectivity such as that? I would imagine bridges are not cheap, as we all know. Is that something that you feel could one day possibly happen, or do you feel that there's little potential for that, short of someone wanting to spend the money to do it?
Most municipalities, including this one, you always look for providing connectivity to adjacent properties that are undeveloped. so that if that property would develop in some form or fashion into the future, it's done all over the place. A lot of people always move into a neighborhood, have a dead-end street at the end of their street, and then realize 10 years down the road, oh, by the way, they just cleared the whole neighborhood next door to tie into my street. And so that's the purpose of those, to provide interconnectivity, not just for movement of traffic, but also for health, safety, welfare issues. This property, in regards to that creek along there, yes, there is a creek. It would require some kind of culvert, bridge, whatever it may be on that side. To put one of those in, don't know dollars and cents until until somebody would sit down and design that out to figure out how do we get from one side to the other side on that side. So it is doable, honestly, between any development on that side. It's just the dollars and cents appropriated to go with it. It doesn't make sense for this development to provide that stub and potentially have to worry about putting in a crossing that we don't need to put in a crossing at this point in time. So, that's kind of, it's one of those things, yeah, every property abuts another property, but sometimes, like you're saying, in this situation, you have a creek. Is it financially feasible? Not with 8 lots, or 10 lots, or 6 lots, or 4 lots to go in and put a bridge crossing across that. So that would be, if there was to be some kind of joint development going on between the two properties, maybe, but in regards to this property and the lots we're looking at today, I wouldn't see a crossing being happening on that side, just because of the dollars and cents. But it is feasible. It just depends if the developer really wants to commit to making that kind of financial outfall.
Mayor,
Commissioner Hall?
Josh, I need to ask a question, please, sir. What is, if I wanted to move for a deferral, what would be the process I need to do that?
You would make a motion to postpone to the next stated meeting.
We already have a motion and a second on the floor.
A motion to postpone would be a priority motion over the motion that's on the floor.
I would like to make a motion to postpone this until our zoning ordinance is approved.
Second.
Point of order, are we within our legal right to postpone a decision based on, I'm not saying I'm against it, I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to fight this, but I just want to make sure. I've been told off the record by individuals that I've asked if we could do that there could potentially be some legal issues by postponing, waiting on a future decision that's yet to be made. I don't know. If it is, I'm fine with it. I just want to make sure.
There's always a possibility of litigation, but the board has discretion to vote on this or to postpone it. I don't think there's anything that requires you to act on the application for rezoning within a certain period of time. If it becomes postponed indefinitely, then that might be a different analysis, but I'm not aware of any requirement that you act on the application within a certain amount of time.
Thank you.
I might explain something, Mayor, if you got a second. I do have
Go ahead,
concern. Okay,
Commissioner
thank
Hall.
you. I do have concern about other subdivisions connecting to this one, and I'm not approving. I don't approve of that type of development to attract to another subdivision. I'd rather see this, if it gets approved, to stand alone and not be a hub for another subdivision to come about. Thank you.
So we have a first and a second to defer, which takes precedence over the motion to approve.
So if there's no further debate, give me one moment, please, Mayor. Regarding your procedural question, there would be debate on the motion to postpone, and once there's no further debate, you would vote whether or not to postpone, and then if it is postponed, that ends the debate on this item. If the motion to postpone fails, then you go back to the original question that's on the floor. The only thing that I would ask the movement to clarify is the timeline. If we're postponing to a date certain, it sounded like it was kind of an indefinite future, so I would just respectfully suggest that there be a date certain where it's brought back before the board, even if that's, 90 days. But at that point, the board can address it or postpone it again, or, whatever actions the board takes at that point. But I would just respectfully suggest that there be a date certain for the postponement.
I believe that'll be a question for Ethan to tell us where we're at there.
I believe 90 days would be sufficient.
Okay.
As long as the person who seconded it agrees to the amendment.
I agree.
So it sounds like the question before the board is a motion to postpone for a period of 90 days.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor McDonald.
Again, this has zero to do with this particular parcel, really any of the discussion that we've had thus far. This is more in regards to the reason for deferment. Do we open ourselves up to any situation where, or I guess legal situation, if we are using the reason for reason for deferment of this particular resolution is to wait until we have new zoning regulations in place, and then moving on to these next items, we take action without waiting until new regulations are in place, does it not look like we are singling this particular resolution out? Devil's advocate, it just seems like we're picking and choosing when we want to use that as a reason for deferment, and to me, that seems like you're getting into some hot water.
Sure. Without committing to a legal position with the prospect of litigation, I will say that the board has very broad discretion when reviewing zoning ordinances. In fact, it's one of your broadest times that you have discretion. You're looking at the public welfare and is it good for the general public? And that can go in either direction. An increase to the tax basis for multiple residences can be good for the general public. Maintaining the character of a specific parcel could be good for the general public. So to answer your question about the type of claim you raise is, are they being treated differently than someone who's similarly situated? I think that would be a very difficult position to advance because you're talking about a specific parcel, and these other resolutions are for different properties that are situated differently in some way.
The only suggestion I was going to ask if we should make is just to simply say we want to defer it for 90 days to investigate further and just leave it at that. And not make mention of that. I just want to make mention to the whispers in the room, we've been sued on multiple occasions over the years, and it's the taxpayers' money that has to pay those lawsuits. So I think it's beneficial to ask these questions. It's not me trying to prevent this from moving forward as a deferment. It's me being responsible with the position that I hold to make sure that we don't walk into a lawsuit. That's all this is.
And I think to answer your question, it sounds like that is one of your rationales. So one person's rationale may be, you're a board of multiple members, one person's rationale may be to wait for the new zoning code, and maybe 90 days gives staff time to explain what that proposed district would be under the new zoning ordinance, and a time to evaluate that, and yours may be slightly different as you phrased. And so everyone may have different reasons to support or to vote against the deferment, and all of those are part of the record and part of the recorded proceeding.
May I ask a question
you.
of council?
No, sir, I'm sorry.
My question would have been, if I can address the council, is it not appropriate that when a application for zoning comes forward, it is based on the zoning that is in place today on that side? I think Mr. McDonald's bringing up a very good point, that the application was made under the current zoning ordinance. The potential future ordinance could last more than 90 days, could last more than 120 days. You're asking the applicant to withhold his right to move forward with his zoning application based on the merits of the zoning in place today. So I think setting us up for a potential of having us to continue to wait for an ordinance that is not yet the adopted ordinance of the city to hold this property at bay. That's just what I want to say.
Commissioner
Mayor.
Roberts.
Thank you. So my argument all along has been to just say no and to say that we will not rezone it. And then that would be an R40 zone. And there's really not much we can do about it. I think that while 90 days would give us time to look at the new zoning ordinances, it also would give us time to reflect a little bit on some of the points that Commissioner Hall raised, which are very good, and for us to think about how we want to build our city. So either way, this will come in and be zoned at a 40 or a 20. It is my supposition. But if we just said no today, then it would be a 40, and you could come back in after the new zoning ordinance was in place to rezone if your property owner chose to. But for me, I mean, it would be just a no to the R20. This way, it would at least give some time to think about what it could look like for us and have more conversation. I think the question about what's happening with that property on the other side is really complicating this in a lot of our heads, because we don't know what ultimately we're approving in this whole area. So for me, I would say just leave it R40 and we're fine. But that's the case I would make. I don't think I speak for the entire board, but I would like us to say no until we know what we're doing with our new zoning.
Ethan? So, Plan North, that's the King property, correct? Sorry, South.
Plan South,
I've been
correct.
backwards all day. Plan South. And the strip that connects to the road is connecting to Overby.
There is a piece that connects to Overby.
Okay.
Yes.
Then Plan East, is that where the King property connects to Darty Estates?
That is correct.
And then Plan North, at the bottom of this parcel, is the stream that runs in between the King property and that parcel,
That's correct.
the entirety of the property.
The entirety of the boundary of that property is stream.
So I guess in my opinion, that property, because of the stream and because the King property has two potential ways in and out, is not contingent on each other, right? So if we left those R40, even if they came in and wanted to do R20, it's not going to affect each other because of that stream unless somebody wanted to do a bridge.
That would be correct. They would have to cross the stream. Bree, if you could put ClickShare up on the screen. I do have an image that you would probably. So you can see this is the USGS map. So not 100% accurate, but that boundary line that runs on the south side of this property, that's in question tonight. And then you can see Overby Branch that runs adjacent to that property boundary.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you. And to kind of respond to what you were saying, Mayor, just a moment ago, with the stream between them, there might not be a connection, but the R20 rezone of this would mean that the next time we come up, if this other property comes up for a rezone, then the R20 is a higher density, and if this property is eligible for a higher density than R20, then we would say, oh, well, the property next to it's R20, so then it's okay if it's an R15 or an R10. So again, this is like that sort of argument that I've been saying all along, is when we're looking at the properties and we're saying what's the contiguous zoning of it in order to help inform what we might say we'd like to see this do. If this is a higher density than an R40, then we might say in a future conversation that then it's okay to go with a higher density. And I just think in this part of town, back to again what I was saying before all of this, so aside from the zoning ordinances, the current properties that surround it, along with the shape of this particular parcel and the fact that downhill from it is the Overby branch, I don't think this lends itself to a higher density. I think it's perfect if there are going to be more than one house on it for a lower density to maintain the rural nature of this area. So that's even aside from the 90-day extension. It's just that I don't think it fits here.
I'm going to tend to agree. But on the other hand, what you're saying is, I don't want the King parcel, if it does sell, to be handcuffed because that was R40. You see what I'm saying? Because let me just with larger parcels, in my opinion, not the one that we're looking at tonight, but with larger parcels, I feel like a half-acre neighborhood is a good fit for Fairview on the larger parcels, just because if we have 1 acre lots, they're more expensive they tend to be more expensive because of the land value in Fairview. So I would like to look at these separately is what I'm saying. I think you understand what I'm saying.
I do, and thank you for saying that. And with all due respect to this board, to previous boards, the argument really is never a fear that we're going to stay with a lower density. It's always, how are we going to manage the higher densities and where do we want to put them? So I understand what you're saying. I don't think that is probably going to be a situation that would play out in the future with a rezone. And depending on that property, we haven't looked at it. We don't know what runs through it and what it really looks like, and that's not even an issue tonight. I agree with you. They should be decided differently. But I'm trying to think, how are we deciding this and how are we planning it? And that's just one of the considerations I wanted to raise to the board. But thank you for your comment.
Mayor?
Commissioner Buffalini?
Thank you. I want to agree with Commissioner Roberts with everything she's been saying. I don't want to reiterate everything, but I do want to agree with basically everything she's been saying. So I'm not going to ask all the questions that I had written down already, but I do want to say to the folks who showed up to discuss this and all that, because I know after this they might leave or not, and I want them to hear this. I know a lot of you were concerned that people don't come to hearings because they feel like they're not heard. I want to let you guys know that you are heard. We are hearing you tonight. Regardless of the decision that this board makes, we listen to each and every one of you. I know that I've been contacted. I know that several board members here have been contacted, and we've had conversations with not just this property, but other properties as well and other issues in the city. So I just want to let everyone know that's at home and that's here. We hear you, whether you live in the city or outside of the city, because everything we do in the city affects people outside the city. So I want you all to understand that, please, and understand where we all come from as well. And ma'am, you had some great questions. You said that you didn't have any good questions. You had some great questions, and every question that you asked should be answered. And I know that our planning department is very overworked, sir. I know you commented on them, and we do have things in place right now to try and hire some more staff, and we're working on that. And we would love nothing more than to answer everyone's questions here tonight and every email that comes through us within a 24-hour period. Unfortunately, right now, we're not able to do that because we are severely understaffed, or even a 48-hour period. Okay, 36 hours. I keep on getting looks at the planning. But we want to get back to you. I promise we do. And like I said, we hear you and we listen. Thank you.
So is there any discussion on the deferment? Because that's what we need to decide right now is, do we want to defer this for 90 days to get more information? Are we
Mayor,
ready?
I think we should just vote on that. I mean, if this is going to get deferred, then I feel like we're having in-depth conversation that we're going to have 90 days to think about and get answers with staff and all of that.
It's Commissioner Hall's motion, so.
Yes, I got a question. I'm willing to remove my postponement if you want to go ahead and vote on.
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, I wasn't able to hear you very good.
I'm willing to remove my postponement if y'all want to go ahead and vote on it. And like I said, the main reason, I've seen other developments connect to other developments, and I've never really been for that. And that's the reason I kind of wanted to wait, see about the zoning. But y'all can do what you want to as far as this goes. If Ms. Roberts, if you're willing to remove your second.
May I, Mayor, just as a point of order, considering there's been a motion and a second and debate, I would suggest just voting on the motion, and even the movement after debate can vote no for their own motion. There's nothing that requires them to vote in favor of it. So I would suggest just voting on the postponement, and if there's a no, then you go back to the original motion that was on the floor.
Okay. Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall,
Nay.
Commissioner Roberts,
Nay.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Nay.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Nay.
Mayor Anderson.
Nay. Okay, so now we're at the original motion. Any other comments or questions on that? Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Buffalini,
Nay.
Mayor Anderson,
Nay.
Commissioner Roberts,
Nay.
Commissioner Hall,
Nay.
Vice Mayor McDonald.
Aye.
Okay, so, item 10B fails 4-1.
Thank you all.
Item 10C, second and final reading, ordinance 2025-22, rezoning 1550 Highway 96 North. And I will now open the public hearing. Seeing no one to speak, I will close the public hearing. An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 7.26 plus or minus acre parcel located at 1550 Highway 96 North, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 019, parcel 002.00, from RS40 Single Family Residential to IG Industrial General. Property owner Deborah Hubert. Mr. Greer.
This comes to you tonight with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. The 2040 Comprehensive Plan shows this as an interchange business employment district, which does list industrial general as an appropriate zone for this property. There is a representative tonight to answer any questions.
Will the representative come forward? Just state your name and address, and thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Palladino. My address is 426 37th Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee, 37209. I appreciate your time tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Mayor,
Commissioner Roberts?
thank you. I think we discussed this last time you were up here. Will you please remind us what the plan is for this?
Yes, our plan is to build light industrial space, otherwise known as flex. About 50,000 square feet is our target, so primarily warehouse with small office components, and to be divided into a multi-tenanted building.
Thank you.
Mayor, do we have a motion?
I'm sorry. I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. More questions? Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 10C passes 5-0. Thank you. Item 11, new business. A, ordinance 2025-23, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 3.73 plus or minus acre parcel located at 7111 Harrison Drive, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 042G, Group A, Parcel 018.00, from RS40, Single Family Residential, to RS10, Single Family Residential, property owner Mary Curley. Mr. Greer?
This comes to you tonight with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. This is shown as a residential transition piece of property in the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. RS10 is not a appropriate zone per the 2040 Comp Plan, but it is less dense than what the plan proposes. And we believe as a planning staff that it fits the area of this property better than the 2040 Comprehensive Plan demonstrates. The 2040 Comprehensive Plan shows RS15, RS8, RS5, RM8 as a appropriate zoning for this property, with appropriate land uses as multifamily residential, single-family attached residential, single-family detached residential, and civic institutional. Although RS10 is not the appropriate zoning per the 2040 plan, it does fall in between RS8 and RS15 as far as being on the lower density side of the appropriate zonings. It is less dense than RS8 or RS5 or RM8. And with that, planning had a positive recommendation to the Planning Commission, and then the Planning Commission had a positive recommendation to you. There is a representative tonight, and they do have a conceptual plan to show you as well. Bree, if you could put up click share on the screen.
Tim Mangrum. Tim Mangrum, 7326 Fernvale Road, Fairview. As y'all are looking over that, there is an existing home on this property, which is in the bottom right corner of the plan, that we do intend to leave. It is actually on about a half-acre lot, so about 20,000-foot lot, a little over. mainly because the way the house is situated, we couldn't make it work out any other way. So we did decide to leave the house on a half-acre lot, even though the zoning is for 10,000-foot lots.
Do I have a motion?
Motion for approval.
Second. Questions from the board?
Mayor,
Commissioner Buffalini?
how are you going to access that site? Is that coming on off of Harrison Drive?
No, the existing house will stay on its current driveway on Harrison Drive. The remaining lots will come through Clearview Meadows subdivision. It appears that in previous planning and forward thinking for connectivity, there was a 50-foot easement on the recorded plat to access this property, but the road was never built. But the easement is there.
Mr. Greer, is that the road that you and I were discussing a couple of weeks back?
I believe we discussed Harrison Drive.
Okay.
And from what we have been able to discern out of the historical documents and out of surveys and deeds, is that Harrison Drive is a private road. It has never been accepted by the city. And the people who utilize it to access their homes are responsible for maintenance of that roadway.
Thank you.
I got two more things I may add to. Speaking to another item on the agenda tonight with future connectivity, and some people may not be for that. We are showing a hammerhead at the end of this short street that we're going to add for future connectivity as well, to an adjacent property that would actually possibly connect it in the future to Cox Pike. And also on Lot 10, proposed Lot 10, that actually backs up to Maple Village for one. For two, in Clearview, there's a water tower that's been there, I'm going to guess, since the 60s, that needs to be updated. And the Water Authority, in discussing with them, would prefer to, because Lot 10 is elevation-wise about 5 foot higher than the current lot that the water tower is on, they would like to move the water tower onto Lot 10 for future improvements and provide more water for the city. Because they say that we're just so short with water capacity here that they have got to do something in the near future, especially in the summer months. They said the winter months, they're pretty good, but the summer months, they're really struggling to keep water.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, Mr. Mangrum.
Hello.
Walk me back again real quick. So which is the existing house on this diagram?
It's on the bottom right corner.
That bottom right. And did you say the driveway for that goes out to Harrison, but everything else will face the other direction?
Everything else will go out a different direction. It will not access through Harrison except for the existing house.
So there's going to be no more traffic on Harrison at all? It'll all go through this other subdivision out onto Crestview and then out onto Clearview?
Yeah, I don't think Adams Drive needs any more traffic in its current state.
Okay, thank you. And then just because you mentioned it, so you've got this, you said Hammerhead Stub Road built here, and I guess that's going onto the map that was part of the packet here to this big parcel here. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that attaches to Cox Pike.
May never happen, but it's always probably great to think ahead for connectivity since this is so close to the schools.
In fact, our regulations do require to have a stub to future connectivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm sorry, just to make sure I'm reading this right. The subdivision on Crestview, though, that's R20, right? The color coding on this map looks like that.
That's correct.
Yeah. I guess just since we're talking about it, then I'll ask you, is there a reason that you would go with an R10 instead of an R20 on just this parcel since it's connecting into an R20?
Mainly because the size of this parcel is so small, it's just not feasible to put in that much road, because we are going to put in the road that was never built into Clearview. So with no more lots than that would create, it wouldn't be a feasible project. And in our mind, considering that this property is adjoining R20 on one side, RM8 on the other side, we actually considered RM8, but I have heard you all speak that Fairview's townhouse heavy right now, so I just thought it'd be better to go look at going single family, and this is where I landed.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mangrum, so you're giving up one of your lots for our new water tower?
That is the discussion we've had. There's nothing, we don't have anything formal. We have had a couple discussions. That's what the Water Authority would like. And then eventually move their water tower and build a much larger, newer water tower on Lot 10.
I've had discussion with Michael Rogers at the last water board meeting, and this tank actually needs to go from a 100,000 gallon tank to a 1 million gallon tank to service Fairview. So I don't think that that's something that they're contemplating. I think that's what they actually want to do. So help me, Lot 10.
In the upper right corner.
Upper right, okay.
And their water tower is just right behind it currently. And apparently because Lot 10 in elevation is about 5 foot higher than their current lot, and they need, the new tower will be about 10 feet taller on top of the 5 foot elevation, so a total of 15 feet. In discussion with the Water Authority, this is above my pay grade, but since that water tower is currently 15 feet lower than the one here at France, they don't work correctly together. They need to be the same height. So that's
You're
what
correct.
they told me. But we're glad to work with them. I understand they need water because they said in the summer months with either people washing their cars or irrigating their lawns, they can hardly keep up.
And the water tower now is on what lot?
It's actually in Clearview. It's, yeah, right there.
Okay.
Which looks, that was
So
a
it's
platted
above,
lot.
it's above Lot 10, because what I was told is they would construct on your top corner and then deconstruct the one that we have now.
Correct. That's
Okay.
the conversation that we've had.
Mayor,
Commissioner Hall?
thank you, Mayor. Mr. Mangum, as I am hearing, are you giving up a lot for this water tower?
It would actually end up being a swap. Once they construct the new water tower and demo the existing water tower, in return for this lot, they would give me their lot. We don't have a time frame. Like I said, we just had very informal conversations. So I don't know if they're talking year from now, 5 years from now, but for some period of time, I'm going to be giving them a lot with the hopes of receiving the existing lot at some point.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Commissioner Roberts?
that's so interesting. So what's the zoning going to be on that lot? How would we know that, Ethan?
Looks like it's a platted lot.
Zoning on that original water tower lot is R20,
Okay,
part of Clearview Meadows subdivision.
okay.
Water tower was there before Clearview was there, but
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
or Vice Mayor McDonald.
Aye.
Item 11A, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
11A passes 5-0. Item 11B, ordinance 2025-24, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the city of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 3.17 plus or minus acre parcel located at 7104 Hall Road, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 043D, Group A, Parcel 010.00 from RS40, Single Family Residential, to RS15, Single Family Residential. Property owner, Innovated Construction Company, LLC. Mr. Greer?
This property comes to you tonight with a negative recommendation for approval from the Planning Commission. Their recommendation comes based on the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. The request of RS15 is not in compliance with the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. R20 or RS40 are the appropriate zonings per the plan, which lists this property as Legacy Neighborhood Residential Medium. The request by the property owner is for RS15, and that was the reasoning behind the Planning Commission's recommendation. There is a representative tonight to answer any questions you may have, and I have a few things for you if I can get it pulled up here in just a second.
In the meantime, can you tell me what the vote was? The number? I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 5-4. Is that right? Do you remember? I think it was 5-4.
Mr. Greer's searching that. I'll introduce myself. Tim Mangrum, 7326 Fernville Road, Fairview.
The motion failed 4 in the affirmative, 5 against.
I dropped the ball and forgot to send something to Ethan regarding this submittal. I actually have concept plan on this as well, and I've got a copy here for each of you if you'd like to look at it, or if Ethan can put it on the table and project it on the screen, either way.
Let's go ahead and have a motion so that we can discuss.
Motion to approve.
Second.
If I remember correctly, which I think I do, the comment from one of the Planning Commission members was that the only thing they wanted to see happen is lot 5 and 6 be combined. And it would be 5 lots instead of 6. So that kind of seemed to get half the people wanting 5 lots and the other half almost saying that 6 was fine. So it wasn't like some big contentious thing. It was just
That's
number of
true.
lots.
This piece of property is just very uniquely shaped. And once we dug into this, we realized that the Cox Pike right-of-way was never given to the city. And the deed for this property actually calls for center of Hall Road. So if you take those public rights-of-way out of this equation, there's a note on the bottom of it. We're losing about 17,740 square feet, 4/10 of an acre by deeding those right-of-ways. If you add those back in, it's very easy to make all of these 20,000 feet. We can make them all 20,000 now. It's just going to make some of the lots very weirdly shaped, and portion of the lot would practically be useless. So I think for usability, having a fairly conforming lot, the R15 with this layout just made the most sense to me.
And we've looked at situations like this before where most of the lots are 20,000 or more, but you might have, because of terrain or some situation, one lot that might not be able to accomplish that. So the R15 just accommodates for any lot that might have an odd shape that might miss it by 10%. Am I speaking correctly?
That is correct. Another thing I forgot to mention, this piece of property also, of course, I knew this going in because you see it when you drive by. There's an AT&T communication, I guess it's a hub, for lack of a better term, that is sitting on what we're proposing is Lot 6. You can see it, from Cox Pike. It's got a fence around it, I do believe. So that, that is not part of this property. It looks like it's been deeded to someone else, probably AT&T, but it's a little bigger than we thought it was going in by looking at the fence.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you. Mr. Greer, on the staff report for this, I'm a little confused under the section for the Fairview Forward 2040 plan. What are the appropriate zone districts under the 2040 plan?
The appropriate zone districts are RS40 and R20.
Okay, thanks. This reads RS15 as an appropriate zone district, and then the next paragraph says it's not an appropriate zone district. So I wanted to make sure that
My apologies.
No, that's okay. I assumed that, but I wanted to make absolutely sure. Mr. Mangrum, I'm very familiar with this lot. I'm sad that I won't see those irises grow any longer, but I'm not going to wax nostalgic on it too much. I just want to point out that this kind of density really doesn't match in this part of Fairview right now, and those are very established homes on Hall Road, on Cox Pike. It's a significantly higher density than the surrounding properties. And so I guess that's more of a comment than a question. It's just so much higher than the other areas, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I see your point in a way, but if I go to Lot 6, the top corner, I could probably hit a golf ball to 2 other properties that has 7,500 square foot lots.
Which 2 properties?
One of them's in your back door.
Bree, do you mind putting click share?
Oh, you're talking about Wynwood Park. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we're about to have that other property that's going to develop
further
across
out
the
of
street.
Fairview than this. And
Yeah.
And I do think, I've been doing this a long time. I heard the same argument when I got post-in-place approved 20-some-odd years ago. Exact same arguments. Oh, it's just too dense. Just too dense. It's single family, and as far as R20 goes, we can move these lots and make some of them really weird shape, and we can get them out of 20,000 feet. Does that make it more usable for the end user because it's oddly shaped, just to accommodate 900 square feet that nobody really notices? I don't know. And Fairview's got an affordability problem, as we all know. I mean, I personally developed the only subdivision in the city currently with 1 acre lots. I'm the developer. I don't know that everybody can afford $1.2 million and up.
I know they cannot. I'm
So,
aware.
I mean, I get it. Nobody likes change for the most part. I understand it. I'm not a developer, and that's another thing, all developers and builders, we all get through in the same pool. We're all the bad guys. I live here, have my entire life. I've seen a lot of changes in my 50-plus years. Some good, some bad. But Fairview needs some single-family homes that's a little more affordable than what we're seeing.
So if, and I remember this conversation from the Planning Commission, and it was the comment that I was referring to earlier was about this property. And I do find that a good articulation of some of the things that I've been thinking about since I joined the board last year. You may know this, you may not know this. If you were to take this down to a lower density and say I'm just for argument's sake, 4 houses, which to me is still pretty dense, but okay, I'm going to give some change here and say, okay, 4 houses. What's the cost difference? What's the price point difference to a homeowner if we put 6 versus 4 and give them a little bit more
Without
green
calculating
space?
numbers off the top of my head, I'm just going to throw out a number that's probably pretty close. If you take this from 6 to 4, you're probably $50,000-$60,000 per house more. And for some people with 6% mortgage rates, that knocks some people out. Makes it not affordable anymore.
But then it also adds to a little bit more property, a little bit more investment for people who do have it, right? I mean, it's just sort of one of those, we're not going to go down this rabbit hole too long, but, for me, this is one of these questions, and I figure you'd have some good numbers, and it would be a good conversation for us and for people to listen to hear. So I appreciate you answering that for me. But that's a wonder, right? Like if we were to match it up with the surrounding properties and not look at what's down Cox Pike a little bit. I wasn't here when those were approved. You can imagine the conversation if I'd been, right? As that is in my backyard. But we're looking at this surrounding area exactly where it is on the road that it's on Hall Road. And I just wonder if a lower density might match a little bit better. And it's also part of what the plan was, which I know I said last time. I mean, the plan needs to be revised. I don't know. But if we're still looking at it and putting in reports, then the 15 isn't in the plan. And to the point that Mr. King made in the PC meeting, we're trying to configure and fit it on this strange shape just to get more houses on it.
Can I ask I know you don't have to answer this question, but, the difference between R15 and R20 is 1 house. Does that really change the traffic count or the surrounding area or any of that? Does it make it conform any better or any worse?
No. And in this instance, I can't argue traffic count too much because it's going to happen, right? I mean, and I've been up here talking about traffic count, but we've already got all these other properties. And so, no, it doesn't change it, but it's really more the aesthetic of that specific neighborhood in that area. We have higher density neighborhoods, like you said, just a hop, skip, and a jump down the road. But those are higher density neighborhoods. This one is not high density. This is a little cottage that sits on this property on its own. And yeah, I think putting 2 houses on there fits the property actually really well. But I'm not you. I don't get to make the decision.
Oh, you do
Nobody-
get to make them.
And well, not in the end. I'm not the property owner, and I do believe in property rights. No, as much as I sit up here and I talk about the layout and the planning and everything, in my head I really am balancing what the rights are also of the people who own the property, and I'm not against developers. I just want to plan. And so for me, if I'm looking at what's around there, for now, those are the houses are not this condensed on smaller lots.
So even though you're asking for R15, what I'm seeing here is lot 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all half acre or above. We've got lots 1 and 2 that are just a tiny percentage that are less. I mean, we're looking at 2 lots that are just a fraction, just a tiny fraction smaller than an R20 anyway.
That's
So-
correct. And lot 4 is big enough. Like I said, we could reconfigure, move some property lines and make some weird shapes, and we can get them all to 20,000 feet. I just think when we do that, it's going to lead to some little dog legs on a couple of these lots that's useless. And I don't see the point of making any part of a lot that's can be used, making it useless. This doesn't seem productive to me.
I don't really have much more to say, but I forgot to say thank you for coming with this. This actually makes it a lot easier to think about what we're doing, so I do appreciate it.
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much.
I meant to send it to Mr. Greer, and I sent him the other one and forgot all about sending this one. It's been a hectic week.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Nay.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. 11B passes 4-1. Item 11C, discussion 2026 meeting dates. Is that going to be you, Mr. Darty?
Thank you, Mayor. We've got together a 2026 calendar, and we saw a couple of conflicts. They were January 1st, New Year's Day, and then July 2nd, and we thought we could have a little discussion and get those adjusted. I guess the question is, do they need to be moved or do they need to be canceled? I believe we voted to move them last year and then wound up canceling both when they fell into that time. So it's just kind of up to y'all with it, but they are conflicts with holidays, with city holidays.
I guess I have a question. The January 1st will be our first in 2026, and the last meeting that I think we'll have in December would be on the 18th. But there will be, I'm guessing, a bit of a break. I don't know. Mr. Greer, can you see any problem? And I know we didn't talk about this, but if we were to not have that first meeting in January and just have one meeting in one town hall, could you see an issue with any of the timelines that we have coming up?
I do not see an issue with removing the January 1st meeting and just having the January 15th meeting.
Thank you.
I actually brought this up to Ms. Jones to try and get our meeting dates scheduled on the Planning Commission meeting. Coming up, we'll be talking about our meeting dates for the coming year. And we're at the point where we have items that are stretching out to January that have already been submitted. And so trying to get some developments and information to people of when they can expect to have meetings. It was the kind of driving force behind making sure we get this discussed tonight as we're looking forward to 2026. Is there any other discussion on January 1st? Does everybody seem in agreement to move that, just remove that meeting and only have the January 15th BOC meeting that month?
I'm good with it because I'm having some surgery on the 31st. So
Vice Mayor?
I'm good with it.
The next BOC date in question was July 2nd. The city has July 3rd as a holiday, which is an event that takes most city staff to put on. And so having that July 2nd meeting date prior to the July 3rd event, that becomes a strain on staff that day. And so wanted to know y'all's opinion on the July 2nd date.
Mayor, my opinion on that one would be to just move it and not remove it. I think this past year we removed that meeting, correct? And it felt like it kind of backloaded all of the meetings following to where they were pretty heavy because middle of the summer is a lot going on. I would personally not like to see that removed. I understand the conflict that it presents with staff, but it should just be, we should just pick a different date to allow city business to continue.
I agree with that.
We've got 5 Thursdays, and I know that would be a town hall. If we shifted the town hall to Tuesday like we did last month and did the 17th and 31st with the town hall on the 28th, would that work?
Those are Fridays.
Sorry, 9th and, 16th and 30th and the 28th.
I think that's a good suggestion. I was thinking the 9th and the 23rd, so move the meeting on the 2nd to the 9th, the 16th to the 23rd, and then just keep the town hall on the 30th.
Any other comments about that month? It doesn't matter to me either. So Ethan, the 9th and 23rd? So we'd meet on the 9th, 23rd, and 30th?
Okay. That change?
Does that look good? So BOC, July 9th and July 23rd, and then Town Hall remains on the 30th.
The next issue is October 15th. That is fall break for Williamson County Schools. Typically, we have moved that meeting to the week following, which would be October 22nd. That is also a month with a town hall, has 5 Thursdays that month.
Anybody have a problem with the October 1st and 22nd? And then Town Hall on the 29th? I suppose you already checked spring break, right?
Make sure I've got it.
Yeah, I believe spring break and fall break affects the planning commission, but not the BLC.
Fall break affects BOC. But spring break is planning commission. Fall break also affects planning commission. How that month falls. And then the last item on there is December 31st. That is the 5th Thursday of December of 2026, and there is a town hall scheduled for that night.
I insist we stay here and have a town hall.
Y'all can watch the ball drop from City Hall.
Do we cancel or do we move it?
We can move it to the 29th.
I know that week is typically a lot of travel with the week between Christmas and New Year's.
That's
So,
true. I mean, we can cancel it for that week or move it.
You have another town hall in January the following month.
Oh.
If that,
So if we have them back to
Or-
back,
I think we could cancel it. I don't know how many people are going to want to come in. Yeah, during that
okay,
holiday
so
week.
we'll cancel the town hall on the 31st.
we appreciate your input as we work together and with staff to get all of our dates squared away for this next year.
So do we have on the planning commission agenda to do the same?
We will be voting on a 2026 meeting dates calendar. Our calendar is a little bit different than this. We will only have a couple dates that will need to be changed for spring break and fall break.
And to remind everybody, the planning commission meeting is on the 18th of this month, since Veterans Day falls on the 11th. So, are we good with 11C? All right. Item number 12, roundtable, mayor and commissioners. Commissioner Buffalini.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Thank you for all the citizens that came to talk tonight. Like I said, just to reiterate, we hear you, we listen to you. Like I said, whether you're in the city or in the county, my thing was to listen to everyone and to make judgments not on what I want, but what our city needs and feels, and you guys definitely made that motion this evening. One thing I wanted to ask was, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I was going to inquire about Town Events Committee, just to help Mr. Ross with things going on, and possibly tasking the Parks and Landscape Board with something like this, because they just canceled their last meeting because they didn't have an agenda. They had nothing tasked to them. So I'm just going to see if maybe this was something that could be done. Just food for thought. Just wanted to give condolences to the Renner family. Ron Renner had passed away. He was also a veteran 3 days ago, so I just want to put our condolences out to that. And a big shout out to the Sweet Magnolia Flower Shop, new business here in town. Catherine Bratt over at 2092 Fairview Boulevard, and they do deliver, so it's a great florist. Go check it out. And just still looking for the meeting minutes from the meeting from September 29th. If we ever get that, please let us know. And then also looking forward to the Veterans Day program at the high school on November 11th. That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Thank you, everybody who came tonight and spoke, and everybody who is listening. I really appreciate it. We really do our best work when we hear from the community, and so we appreciate hearing from everybody. And I appreciate the discussion with everybody this evening as well. To respond to what Commissioner Buffalini said about the Parks and Landscape Board, I'm glad you brought that up. I also noticed that they canceled, and the chair of the board submitted to us several weeks ago ideas that he has for work that they can do, and I think that we should put some thought into that for discussion at our next meeting and think about how we can put Parks and Landscape to use. I know they want to do some things, and they're on there because they're interested, so I think that's incumbent on us to act, and I'd like to add that to our next meeting discussion. I'm so excited that the high school is doing the Veterans Day event. In the town hall, I'd asked about it, and it was said that they weren't doing it, and I'm absolutely thrilled. And I cannot wait to be there. I'm the child of a veteran, and I know that we owe a great debt of gratitude to all of our veterans, and so I'm just really, really glad that they are doing that, and I hope everyone can make it to honor them. Thank you, Mr. Ross, for putting together a blanket drive, and very excited that the city is doing that. Tonight is opening night of Rumors at the high school. Not only is there a giant football game going, but we also have some theater happening, and it's happening again tomorrow night and Saturday for 2 shows at 2 and 7. And the Fairview Community Theater is doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, also opening night tonight, and then they're at 7 o'clock tomorrow and Saturday, and then they have a 2 o'clock matinee on Sunday. So you can, in fact, see all of them more than once if you want to, but great things happening here in Fairview. And I just hope everybody has a lovely evening.
Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Mayor, Board. Thanks for the officers that's been here watching over the meeting. And as usual, thank all the city employees for all they do for us. One thing I'd like to add, my objection a while ago on that small subdivision. I thought it was a good chance to find out what the ordinance will be like in the future for stubbing out for additional subdivisions. And I know I just voted on one that was already planned many years ago with Clearview Meadows. It was already stubbed out for it. So the existing one was a different outlook on that. But I didn't like to see a smaller subdivision be subject to leading to other subdivisions if we had a chance. But anyway, maybe the new ordinance will guide us in the right direction on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Go Yellow Jackets. That's all I got.
Did we win, or? No, the game is still going. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so I'll try to hurry. Elvis Jones has meant a lot to this community, and I just wanted to send out our thoughts and prayers to his family in the loss of him. He's been just loves children and loves this community and meant a lot to the community. So I did want to mention real quick, there are local families who have been severely affected by the government shutdown. And I know there are many businesses who are trying to help. Several have reached out to me. We've got Shara Sturm with Fairview Nutrition. She's accepting food. She's in charge of accepting the food at Fairview Nutrition. That's in Brooks West. And she will also be distributing it to families who come and show their need. Gary Wild with Farm Bureau is doing he's giving out money to families and taking it's online, so I would just check out Farm Bureau and just see what all the details on that are. Cano's next door, Armando and his family are doing a Pay It Forward giving board. I went and saw that today and participated in that. And what it is, it's a board, and you can prepay for a meal or an amount or a gift card. He taxed it up there. Families go to Cano's and they can pull one of those off and pay for their meal or their family's meal. So a lot of people in the community are really trying to help. So if anybody wants to help, just either reach out to me. I know a lot of the businesses who are helping, or online. I'm sure they have been promoting online that they're helping. So we just want to take care of our families. So last, when we had our town hall, I had reached out to the high school that day and asked if I could give any information about a Veterans Day celebration, and they said they were not planning one at the time. So some parents got together, and it's, we honor our veterans at the 3rd of July by giving out challenge coins and saying thank you, and I'm really excited about the fact that they were able to put together in such short notice, because First Sergeant Turk did such a good job for years doing the table ceremony and putting together that. So I'm glad they've got that back on track. Unfortunately, since I was told they weren't doing it, the stars have to align for my daughter and son-in-law and myself to get together. So we're going to East Tennessee to purchase them a piece of property for their forever home, and I will not be able to attend. So I'm very sad about that. If she hadn't already booked everything, then I would cancel and I would be there, because I love our veterans, and I know all of us do, and we want to honor them for their service and what they've done, to keep us free. So with that, I've got other things. I'll just wait till the next meeting, and let's just keep Fairview beautiful and pick up trash and not throw out. I entertain a motion to adjourn.